Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who Big Finish video. In today's Doctor Who Big Finish video we're looking at this, the Butcher of Brisbane. Yes, it is a prequel to the Talons of Weng-Chiang, yes. Now the 5th Doctor has a habit of having prequels and sequels to 4th Doctor stories from the East Space trilogy with Mistfall, Equilibrium, the Entry Plague, the Key to Time trilogy, obviously the Butcher of Brisbane, and then Primeval. I think those are the ones I can remember from the top of my head. But yeah, there's quite a few prequels and sequels what the 5th Doctor's had. So I thought I'd review this in light of the recent release of Season 14 coming out on Blu-ray. And the disc art for this release is exactly the same for both discs. On the actual story itself. So taking a look at the presentation for the Butcher of Brisbane. So we've got the 5th Doctor there, we've got the Sigma Energy beam there, we've got Mr. Sin, the news report station, Magnus Greel himself, the Time Cabinet, then we have Brisbane, and then Peking there, and then the 5th Doctor sidebar. The side of the release. And taking a look at the back of the release, we have the blurb on the story, so do feel free to pause if you want to know more about the actual story. The cast list, and then the total running time being 120 minutes. So taking a look at the booklet now, so if we open it up, we have writer's notes by Mark Platt, and then some cast photos from behind the scenes of recording the story, then director's notes by Ken Bentley, which is all very cool. Then what I love about the early Big Finish releases, or sort of the later ones, is obviously we have concept art, and obviously this represents sort of Nyssa and Turlough wandering around sort of the cold wastelands full of dead bodies dropping from the sky, and it's just very atmospheric. I love that concept art because it really does reflect the tone of the story itself. Then we have the next instalment in the main range, Protect and Survive. Then we have credits and then advertisement for Doctor Who magazine, and then the reversible logo if you want the 5th Doctor logo on the cover instead. And the disc art for this release is exactly the same for both discs. So with Season 14 being released on Blu-ray, I thought I would revisit the Butcher of Brisbane, which I first listened to back in 2014. With this story acting as a prequel to the Talons of Weng-Chiang, with Mark Platt using bits of dialogue from Talons of Weng-Chiang, with the title coming from part 6 of the actual story itself. So Mark Platt has really fleshed out some of the dialogue from the Talons of Weng-Chiang, and I feel like when you watch Talons of Weng-Chiang, this will really enhance your viewing, because you'll have a bit more of context to some of the events what the Doctor and Magnus Greel are talking about in the latter half of the Talons of Weng-Chiang. So what did I make of revisiting the Butcher of Brisbane? Well, revisiting it, my opinion has not changed on it. I think that this is a brilliant 5th Doctor story, with it being incredibly grim and bleak. Part 1, so we start off the story in the Star Chamber with the sentence and execution of Reagan by Magnus Greel, since Magnus himself is the Justice Minister. So we expand on the projection chamber, which is quite a brutal scene, and what research is helping this sort of project go forward. So after a rather bleak start, we have a fun scene with Tegan getting all excited about returning to Australia. But this being the 1980s, something goes wrong with the TARDIS, as there's turbulence in the vortex and an energy beam splitting reality. So we learn more about the Sigma beam and why it's dangerous, causing Nyssa and Turlough to arrive in this cold wasteland full of dead bodies, what have been drained of all life and are dropping from the sky. You know, wandering round the wasteland, Nyssa and Turlough discover a body of Reagan, who seems to recognise Turlough and Nyssa. And what has Reagan proved about Greel and Findica? So the Doctor and Tegan are in pursuit to get Nyssa and Turlough back. So Tegan does get to go to Australia as they arrive in Brisbane in the 51st century, which leads to some brilliant moments between the Doctor and Tegan, with Tegan being shocked about what's happened as Brisbane is basically in ruins. So we get some world building that there is another ice age. You know, Earth has just become a factory. We get sort of the political landscape with Iceland is on a trade mission with the Supreme Alliance. So the Doctor and Tegan are on a trace of the Sigma energy. So we learn the side effects of the Sigma energy with sort of the radiation, with these dingo soldiers and this giant mutated baby. And this all leads to a very intriguing cliffhanger on how does Nyssa know Greel. So this is a really good setup. Part 2, we continue the political landscape with the royal banquet to celebrate the alliance, with Mr. Sin being given as a gift to the Icelandic leaders' sort of children. So this part is when we really start to sort of add to the mystery. You know, what is with this sort of secret base? What is Greel's promise, and what is Nyssa and Turlough's mission? So we learn, you know, what happened to Nyssa and Turlough. You know, the Doctor gets into the secret base. So we learn of the different experiments, what Findica is doing, leading to some quite twisted moments of the Doctor being tortured on an operating table and being hung over the balcony to be the plaything of this mutant baby. We learn of the work camps, what are doing basically 25-hour work shifts. And we have a twist involving Findica, and we see the return of the distillation chamber, leading to a very tense cliffhanger. Part 3, so we have an action-packed resolution as Findica takes the TARDIS. So the Doctor has to find his two friends, and now the TARDIS. So we find out who Nyssa has been working for, you know, what's happening to Magnus Greel. We get the full backstory for Nyssa and Turlo. Now the story starts to link to the opening sequence, so things are going full circle, and the Doctor has to change Greel's fate. And will Greel finally achieve his plan? Part 4, so we finally have the Doctor confronting Magnus Greel as the Doctor and co are on the hunt for Greel, go to Reykjavik as diplomatic relations fell and war is about to begin as Reykjavik is under siege from the Philippine army. What the Doctor was leading while the 5th Doctor's in Reykjavik. It's all a bit timey-wimey, I guess you could say. You know, what is Findica's revenge? You know, Mr. Sin gets a real dark moment within this, and the ending for the story it's just being rather bleak as nobody really wins because of the laws of time. So it is quite a hopeless and bleak ending, which I think really fits the story quite well because this is a quite dark, twisted story. So moving on to characters now, the Doctor, Peter Davison. Now Peter Davison gives a brilliant performance as this story lets him play a bit of a 7th Doctor side as he's, you know, he knows more than what he's letting on. So there's a great sense of urgency to get his friends back because he knows how dark this time is on Earth's history. But we still have that sort of youthful English gent and that sort of sardonic wit, especially with Findica, which reminds me of the 5th Doctor sort of moments between Sharash Jek with him mocking him and him getting a great speech about sort of putting things right. So I feel like this is a real good story for the 5th Doctor, especially the moments between him and Findica, especially when the 5th Doctor's being tortured, because the 5th Doctor just absolutely shines in those moments. Tegan, played by Janet Fielding. Now Janet Fielding gives a really good performance with her being excited about returning to Australia, but then being rather devastated about what's happened to her, you know, her country, I guess. So we have these brilliant moments of her confronting the Doctor, with her having a great moment talking about time as she's determined to, you know, change things. And we have the sort of the classic Tegan Saki dialogue, which is always a delight. Nyssa, played by Sarah Sutton, an excellent performance as the story gives something different for Nyssa to do, with her being the bride of Magnus Greel. So that's quite interesting to see Nyssa using her sort of Trakan nobility, with her showing her diplomatic side, but is obvious on this sort of secret mission, which is rather cool when that's revealed. So sort of seeing her take a spy role, which is quite cool. And we also see her caring and compassionate side shine through throughout this story. Turlo, played by Mark Strickson. Now I feel like Mark Strickson gives a good performance, but I would say out of the companions, he's the one character what gets used the least throughout the story, I feel. But he does have some good moments with Nyssa. We have this sort of classic Turlo chicken nature. You know, he doesn't want to get involved. He's quite practical when he needs to be. But he's a bit of a do-gooder, and he's quite concerned for the TARDIS, and he's getting a bit more anxious and fidgety as the story goes on, as you realise, you know, the true horrors of what are going on. Professor Findica, played by Rupert Fraser, a superb performance of this utterly twisted character who gives Magnus Greel a run for his money. A rather cold and deranged character, especially in part 2, and he's just naturally creepy, and he's just rather unsettling, and I feel like Rupert Fraser did a brilliant job bringing this twisted character to life. It's just a character what just makes your skin crawl. Wonderful job by Rupert Fraser. Magnus Greel, played by Angus Wright. Now this is the first time he plays Magnus Greel, because there's another prequel story to the Talons of Weng-Chiang in the Diary of a Song Series 6. I feel like Angus Wright delivers a perfectly balanced performance. You know, at the start of the story, we have this rather stern, smug, authoritative character, and we see more of a softer side to Magnus Greel, especially when he's with Nyssa. But halfway through the story, he becomes a bit more twisted, like the Magnus Greel we see in the Talons of Weng-Chiang, and he becomes quite deranged for his survival and will stop at nothing to achieve his goals. So what are my overall thoughts on the Butcher of Brisbane? Well, the Butcher of Brisbane is a fantastic prequel to the Talons of Weng-Chiang, really fleshing out Magnus Greel and the 51st century, showing how dark this time period is. Mark Platt did a superb job using lines from Talons of Weng-Chiang to craft this story, and it will definitely enhance your viewing when you watch Talons of Weng-Chiang next, as this story puts that dialogue to life and puts a bit more backstory to the events what the Doctor and Magnus Greel talk about in the latter half of the Talons of Weng-Chiang. I think that this is a great story for the TARDIS crew, and I think using the 5th Doctor really pushes the dark and bleak nature of the story even more, as the 5th Doctor is a more gentle Doctor, so putting him in this sort of horrific situation really aids the story. and it makes the story feel even more hopeless and bleak with the Doctor can't change events. I think the supporting characters are brilliant. You know, Findika is a brilliant character with the sort of Sigma experiment with his sort of crazy mutations as well. This is just a fantastic Fifth Doctor story, what I highly recommend. I really do enjoy this. It's definitely in my top 10 Fifth Doctor Big Finish stories. I'm not sure if it'll be in my top 5, but it's definitely in the top 10. I really did enjoy this. I feel like if you love the Talons of Weng-Chiang, then you're going to love this because it puts a whole new meaning to the dialogue scenes what the Fourth Doctor and Magnus Greel have in sort of part 5 and 6. So it's rather cool. I really did enjoy this one. And I think that this is a really good exploration. I feel like Mark Platt did a really good job using dialogue from the Talons of Weng-Chiang to craft a superb story. So I'm going to give the Butcher of Brisbane a well-deserved 9 out of 10. I absolutely did enjoy this one. It's grim, it's bleak. So it's a story not for the faint-hearted. It's definitely one of those stories. It's a story what I just really did enjoy. So yes, thank you very much for watching this review. I hope you have enjoyed it. And I'll see you on my next video, whatever that will be. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.